Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we are doing an unboxing video on the Aquatop Forza 2540 power filter. It's a hang on the back filter that's made by Aquatop. And I came across this one while I was in my pet store, my local pet store, and they were selling it for $20. And I was looking for a hang on the back filter for my 40-gallon breeder tank that is stocked with cichlids. And I came across this one and thought at $20 it seemed like it was a pretty good deal. It has a neat feature that I haven't messed around with yet when it comes to hang on the back filters or any filter in general that I've had. But to get into the details of this filter, Aquatop claims that it's suitable for up to 40 gallons, and that can be a little bit controversy when it comes to tank size, when it comes to filters. Just because it says it's up to 40 gallons, it doesn't tell you what that bio load that tank has, because there's a difference between a 40-gallon breeder tank full of neon tetras and a 40-gallon breeder tank that's stocked with cichlids. But it does say it's up to 40 gallons. They also claim that the filter can flow 120 gallons per hour, which again is on the low side when it comes to a 40-gallon tank, because to put that in perspective, a 40-gallon tank with one Forza 2540 filter on it will be cycled through the filter 3 times an hour. I would recommend having at least 4 or 5 times an hour. That way you're ensuring that the water is being put through the beneficial bacteria to break down the ammonia into nitrates, or nitrite, and then the nitrite break down into nitrates. But it is on the low side for a filter rated for 40 gallons. And however, I did pay $20 for the filter, so there is probably you get what you pay for when it comes to flow. But I think it'll be okay with the flow rate. I'll just have to see when I test it. It features your typical 3-stage filtration when it comes to hang on the back filters. It has your mechanical, your chemical, and your biological media. That way you have the mechanical to filter out any debris that you may see floating in your water, help keep your water clear, along with the carbon chemical filter to break down nutrients and tannins to also create a more healthier and clearer water for your fish. Also, you have your biological media, which is your most important. It is the life source of your aquarium. Without it, we wouldn't be able to keep fish in glass boxes full of water due to ammonia spikes and nitrate spikes. If you don't have beneficial bacteria, your fish will die. It's simple as that. And they claim that this one has a large filter media chamber, which again is an important factor to put in when you're using biological media. The more space your filter has, the more biological media you can have colonized if the need arises. You will never get more beneficial bacteria than you need for the bio load. But having that extra space gives you a little bit of leeway just in case there should be an ammonia spike or you add more fish to your tank. Also, Aquatop claims that it is super quiet operation, which is also another good feature to have in a hang on the back filter, because if you're in a small place like I am and you're running about 12 to 15 hang on the back filters, you don't want any of them to be noisy, because if they're noisy and you constantly hear the humming of the motors, it'll drive you crazy. So it's nice Aquatop has a quiet filter for your hang on the back. Now to get into the feature that I think is the most important, and is a feature that I've never played with before, they have a top mounted valve to adjust the water flow of the filter, which of course with my 12 to 15 other hang on the backs, they do not have this feature. And what that means is if you put it on a tank that is smaller than 40 gallons, or you have fish that do not appreciate high flow rate, you can dial it down. And also if you find that the setting you set on the filter is not adequate enough for the filtration, or you have fish that like a little bit higher flow, you can also adjust it. I do not know what the range of the flow is and the difference between low and high, and that will be in the review portion of when I review this filter in the future, and I'll break that down when we get there. I'm going to open up this box and actually show you the filter. I'll give you a first impressions, what I do like and what I don't like, and then I'll install it on my 40-gallon breeder cichlid tank, and then I'll tell you how the setup was it easy, was it hard, and so forth. And of course, like I said, in the future I will be doing a review after I've had some time using this filter. So let's break into it. Alright. It comes with a lid and your extensions for your filter to put it down close to the bottom where you can turn over the water more efficient. On the lid, you can see it's clear, which is kind of nice, so you can actually take a look into your filter and see if the cartridge or whatever you're using to filter the water is getting dirty. And you can see that on the top there's a hole, and that's where that valve goes through, and it says open and close. Now getting to the part that's the most important is the filter. Now as you can see, it's your typical hang on the back filter, and this is the chamber area right in here, and they say that it is large, which I'm not sure what they're comparing it to, but as you can see, there is plenty of room to where you can modify and put sponges or foam or biorings or whatever type of biological media that you want to use. Also, you can see right here is the valve to control the flow. It's just a simple little valve that you just twist either way. There doesn't seem to be a stop and a go, so it'd be interesting to see exactly what all that does. Now, already looking at the filter, I can say there's something I don't like about it, and that is the motor is not on the inside of the tank. It's on the outside. It's right next to where the filter chamber is. And that meaning if the power would go out, I haven't tested it, so I'm not exactly sure, but just based on where it is, and there's other filters with motors on the outside, they tend to have problems when the power goes out and restarting, which isn't what you want, because you don't want to be away, power goes out, and then power come back on and your filter has not started back up. So that is one downside that I don't like about the filter. And other than that, that is the only thing that I can see that I do not like about the filter. As you can see the intake tube is just a clear plastic small tube. It's about maybe 1/4 inch in diameter. And if you wanted to, you can take your extensions and comes out pretty easy. You can snap it down and then put your end piece that has a whole bunch of little slots in it that allow water and debris to pass through but won't suck up your fish. I'll go ahead and take that out so we can click that on. And as you can see, I'm not sure if I'll be able to show it, but in there is a little curved plastic piece. And as I twist it around, it will go in front of that tube and adjust the flow. So it's just a simple, kind of like a ball valve. I'll go ahead and back install that. It goes back in easy. What I do like about this filter is it does have a long intake tube, which is nice. You want to be able to position the bottom of the tube as close to the bottom of your fish tank as possible. That way you can help suck up any debris that sits on the bottom and help completely turn over that water instead of just filtering the very top portion. Now Aquatop does make a slightly bigger version of this filter, and it does come with a surface skimmer, which is again another great option, but this filter however does not have it. Now we get into the filter part, and right here is just a plastic insert that you put in your filter, and this is where your biological media will colonize. Your beneficial bacteria will colonize on this part, and this is what you want to leave in your filter. And if it does get gummed up, you want to take it out and rinse it in tank water that you take from your aquarium. You do not want to run this under tap water because you will kill your beneficial bacteria with the chlorines and chloramine. Here is the mechanical and chemical portion of your filtration. It's just your typical carbon packet that's wrapped with a polyester filling to act as your mechanical. It's just your typical regular insert. I'll be using the insert at first just to see how well they hold up, and then I will be hot rodding this filter in the future. Now that I've unboxed it, I'm going to go over to the tank and get it set up, and then have you guys show you guys how to install it onto your tank if you never installed a hang on the back filter, and then I'll tell you how it was when it was starting up, if there was any difficulties or whatnot. This is my 40-gallon breeder tank full of some African cichlids and some Central American cichlids. And it is kind of an oddball tank. It is working so far. I've been pretty lucky to be able to mix this amount of fish. They typically wouldn't mix together. I have imbuas, electric blue acaras, firemouth cichlids, some peacocks, a pike cichlid, along with a couple convicts. And it has been working out for the most part. There hasn't been any issues. I haven't had any fighting. They chase each other from time to time, but it's nothing too severe. It's just kind of your typical cichlid behavior. These cichlids are all about 1 to possibly 1.5 to 2 inches long. I've had them for a couple months now, and as you can see in the back, you can see the black filters that you see hanging down. Those are the Tetra whisper filters. They're internal, which they don't do the best job when it comes to filtration. As you can see, there's debris floating around in the tank, along with you can't have the water level as high as you'd want due to the filter sitting into the tank about 1 inch or 2 below the rim. I also have a couple air stones and a Fuval power head to help move the water around and help keep things stirred up to where they can eventually be filtered. And that is why I am filtering with a different filter. back over with my Cichlid tank. I do have the filter all set up ready to go. I had to change to a different camera due to the fact that I was recording all the other footage with my phone, and I didn't have a tripod yet for my phone to use with my camera. So I'm switching over to the other one. Just in case you notice that there was a difference in quality or of the video or audio difference, that is why. However, we got my hang on the back filter here, the Aquatop Forza 2540 filter, and I turned off the lights on my 40-gallon breeder tank for my cichlids. That way you didn't have the glare and you'd be able to see what I'm doing. It is in the floor in front of my TV. As if you guys seen the introduction video, I am in a studio apartment. It's a one room. I have a whole lot of animals. I currently have about 90 fish and about 17 to 20 different animals that aren't in water. But I have a metal screen top on this aquarium because of I don't have a glass top yet. If you hear scratching in the background, it is the chinchillas and the rabbits scratching in their cages. I do apologize for that sound. I'm leaving the whisper filters hooked up in this aquarium so they still have the beneficial bacteria until I can get them colonized onto this new one. But I want to show you guys how to install it for anyone who've never installed a hang on the back filter before. It's just how it sounds. It's a hang on the back filter that you hang on the back of your tank. And I have it cut out a spot open on the back of my screen so I can fit this in there and still be able to keep the top. But as it is, you just basically hang it onto the back of your ring. It just sits just like that. I don't have the lid on it yet. I will install it in just a minute, but I want to leave it open so I can fill it with water. You don't want to open these things dry because you can overheat the motors and cause problems with the motor being burnt out, and you could break the impeller from it rattling in there. So let me hook this up, get it plugged in, and I'll tell you if I had any issues when we go to the conclusion of this video about this filter. As you guys can see, I do have the filter running. Another thing that I found out that I don't like quite about the filter is the lid does kind of sit on there loosely. There's no other way of putting it on. But as you can see, the water is flowing. And if I turn the knob, I'm not sure if you guys will be able to tell, there is very minimum water control. It doesn't really seem to adjust it too much. But once I have filled the top up of the aquarium with water, it had no trouble starting up. So as long as you prime this system first by filling the filter chamber up with water before turning it on, you won't have any issues. But that's the unboxing on the Forza 2540 hang on the back filter made by Aquatop. And if you enjoyed this video, guys, hit the subscribe button. If you want to see more content and updates on my other fish tanks, hit the subscribe. If you like this video, hit the thumbs up. If not, no harm in pushing the thumbs down button. And as always, guys, stay fishy.